Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, September 9th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. It is fluorescent green brown bag food distribution day today.
That means you're on the traffic line?
That is exactly what it means, Pete. And when it's going to be hot and humid, I wear the fluorescent green so I don't have to put the fluorescent green vest on top. Because
Smart idea.
That tends to be kind of warm. The voice you hear is the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pedro. How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Any meetings last night? Were you out late?
School committee.
Late? School
I only went to like 9, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because do they normally meet on Mondays, but because of the holiday, was that it? Or
right,
are they all over the map now? I know they're meeting a lot.
They've been kind of all over the map, but
Yeah.
I think they needed to get the meeting in, so they moved it to Tuesday.
Okay.
One of my meetings, I think, got canceled for this week, maybe 2.
Okay.
So and then the colleges, because their students are back. There's the student that's been doing it, Jenna, is going to take back over some of the meetings, and they're going to do them up at the college, so that's also helpful.
So I'm confused because I thought the students weren't coming back until the end of September.
Well, the classes still started.
Okay,
The
right.
classes already started online.
Right.
She lives off campus.
Oh,
so
gotcha. Oh, okay.
She actually lives next to Bob Plass now.
Oh, okay.
In the house
right
next to
over
Bob
there.
Plass.
Yeah, right over there near the post office.
Yeah, between Bob
Yeah.
and the bank.
Okay.
That was a college student. There was guys there last year. They all were seniors and moved out, and now it's all girls.
It's all females.
Yes, it's all girls, and so I think Bob has made friends with some of them already.
Good.
He's very proactive about that.
Yes. Well, and yeah, but which to his advantage. You want to do that. You want to be proactive. Make friends with your neighbors.
Well, I mean, Frankie's the ultimate,
Yes.
conversation starter.
For those who don't know,
The
Bob
small
Plass
horse.
has a dog, Frankie, who is yeah. Grace fell in love with my daughter. Grace fell in love with Frankie. She saw Frankie at one of the concerts on the Green,
Yep.
probably 3 or 4 years ago. And who doesn't love Frankie? Frankie's like a small horse, so friendly, so
has
beautiful.
the best dog. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, friendly dog.
Great dog, yep.
Awesome dog. Yeah. Okay, so great. So we'll be able to pull some of the college students
I'll be able to
in
get
on
some
the
time
radio
off.
stuff. Yeah, you'll
I'll be able to get some time off.
That'll be nice.
They're just through the meetings, so
Yeah, but hey, that's
I don't
a big
think there's
help.
any students coming back for the radio station for a while.
Okay, right. Okay, that's where I was confused because I
Yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
they were back here yet. So did you get any time off this weekend? Oh, I mean,
Yes.
we had a 3-day weekend, but that doesn't mean anything for a lot of the city employees. Certainly didn't mean much to me.
Well, Friday night we went away to Concord, New Hampshire. We didn't see a lot because it was just like an overnight.
So that was in lieu of the Vermont trip that had to get
Right, because our numbers went up.
canceled.
They didn't go down.
Ah, okay.
The county numbers went from 429 to like 550 per million,
Okay.
which
And
still
so-
only means that there was like 29 active cases or something,
Yes.
and I don't know. It's just
Right.
a weird
But it was
formulation.
whatever. The woman who owned the inn or the bed and breakfast, she didn't make the rules. She just has to follow them.
Yeah, sure. I didn't
Yeah,
blame her.
so,
I just thought it was convoluted how they do it. But
Yeah.
whatever, the state of New Hampshire welcomed us. We found a
Good.
great, I've been to another diners, drive-ins, and dives place up there called the Butchery, which was
Okay.
unbelievable.
Good. And was that right in Concord, New Hampshire?
No, just
or
outside of it. It was on the suburbs. It was in, what town was that in? It was to the east of it. So
Okay.
it was cool.
Yeah.
We stayed in Dow, New Hampshire, which is just outside of Concord, Manchester area.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a good time.
Concord, New Hampshire is a cute little town. Gary and I stopped there on one of our trips up to Maine. We kind of took a back way, and I remember there was a farmer's market. It was on a Saturday morning. There was a farmer's market. And
It's
it was
basically
really
you go up
cute.
Route 202 and you run right into it.
Yeah,
You stay on Route 202.
right. That's exactly how we went.
Yep. You
Yeah.
stay on Route 202 and you run right into Concord. So, yeah, I had a good time with that. And then Monday I just took the entire day off and putted around the house. I changed the locks in the house. It's long overdue, and a couple other little projects banged out, and just kind of smoked some ribs in the smoker and had a nice,
Perfect.
fairly easy day.
We had a beautiful weekend. I mean,
Yes.
this was probably one of the nicest Labor Day weekends that I can remember in years because, first of all 3 days were nice. You know,
Yep.
you're lucky sometimes if you get 2 out of 3, you're super lucky. Sometimes it's only 1 out of 3. Sometimes it's not any. But boy,
Sure.
we were, and you know, people kind of plan outdoor gatherings around the weather, but 3 days of really nice weather. It was.
Yep. And
it was
Sunday I worked at
beautiful.
Mount Holyoke because they needed the help. They
Yeah.
were very short-staffed on Sunday, so I went in there and did the work.
So let me tell you what I did this weekend, Pete. So Gary reconnected with my husband. Gary reconnected with a group of high school friends, many of whom ran track and field with him.
Yep.
I think he reconnected through Facebook probably about 6 or 8 months ago, maybe even longer than that, because this group of guys, there are about, I don't know, maybe 8 of them, have one of the guys developed brain cancer, and
Yep.
so the group sort of have been kind of trying to rally around him and be supportive. And so last year, one of them lives in Lake Tahoe, and last year there was a sprint triathlon there, and so the group decided, kind of in honor of our friend Bob and our
Sure.
classmate, we all went to high school together, different classes, so we were sort of all over the map. That they would do this triathlon. And so they all went out to Lake Tahoe last year and did the triathlon and then planned to do it again this year. And of course, the triathlon was canceled because of COVID.
Yep.
And, nobody was flying anywhere. So anyway, in the meantime, Gary had kind of reconnected with this group, and they Zoom once a month, and I know a lot of them because we all went to high school together.
Yep.
So anyway, the guys decided, because Bob's condition has been worsening, and so the guys decided to do the triathlon kind of virtually on our own, and as close to what it would be.
parameters,
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, it's kind of hard because in a regular triathlon, you have a body of what you have to swim, bike, and run. And so, you have a body of water. Usually it's a lake. And then you do the cycling part and then the running part. So anyway, the guys decided to do this. So Gary was really kind of, he wasn't concerned about the biking. He's been cycling. So he wasn't too concerned about the running because it was a 2-mile run, and he hasn't been doing a lot of running, but he said, I think I could do 2 miles. He was not so sure about the swimming part of it. But anyway, I kind of, I thought, well, it might be fun to do it together. I've never done anything like this, and I haven't been on a bicycle in like 10 years. So, but I committed, and I said, nope, let's do it. We're going to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
So but the problem is that the actual, they wanted to do it on the day of the actual event, which is at the end of the month of September. And, Gary and I started looking at access to the swimming part was the hard part.
In New England, yeah, that's tough.
Yes, in New England, it's tough. And, now with COVID, in the old days, I would have just called Bo Sullivan and Bill Parks and said, hey, can I borrow the pool over at the Boys and Girls Club? Or I would have called Andrea and I would have said Allard and I would have said, can I use the pool at the Y? But it's so different now with COVID. So Gary and I, we asked the guys, we said, can we do it early? Because we have access to some outdoor pools, but everybody's going to be closing their pool after Labor Day.
Sure, yeah.
So we have some friends who live about 5 minutes from us, and some of our closest friends here. They have a house at the Cape, so they were going to be gone this weekend. And so we had, I said to Gary, honestly, Labor Day weekend would be a great weekend to do it. It's a 3-day weekend. We can pick that at the time that we thought about this, which was a few weeks ago in terms of planning the day. I said, we'll have 3 days. We'll choose the nicest of the weather days. Again, thinking, we may not have much choice.
Sure.
In the end, we ended up we could have chosen any of the 3 days. But anyway, so we did it. So we had a friend of ours, John Goda, who's the athletic director over at Pope Francis High School, was our official race director. So he did all the timing and, made sure that we stayed on track. And, and again, in our sprint marathon, you would actually do the swim, literally get out of the water and hop on your bike and then literally get off the bike and go for the run. But, we had to get in our car and drive to our friend's house for the pool. So we did.
Wait a minute, you couldn't have ended up your biking part and leave your bikes there and go
no,
back
it
there
actually,
later?
Pete, what ended up happening was we asked the guys how flexible we could be with this because just from a practical standpoint, we wanted to do the swim last instead of first because we wanted to, again, that's sort of with weather-wise, we did the run first because we just thought it would be coolest to do that. And then we actually wanted to wait for the pool water to warm up a little bit before we did the swim, so we did that last. But, we didn't dilly-dally. I mean, as soon as we finished one event, like we did the run first, it was a 2-mile run. We made sure we finished so it was like a block from our house. And then we just like cooled down, ran home, changed, Gary put on his, we got the bikes were ready. We had the bikes all set, but we had to get our helmets on and all that stuff. And then it was a 10-mile bike ride.
Okay.
Now the thing is I had not been on a bike in like 10 years. So the day before, we did it on Sunday. So Saturday, Gary said, well, let's go out. My biggest concern about the bike ride was not riding the bike. It was remembering the route because it was a 10-mile route. Gary we had to keep it close to home so that we could end, near home so we could get in the car, go to the pool.
Yep.
So Gary had us looping around a lot. It's like, okay, you go down through this neighborhood and, you loop twice and you do this and you loop. And I knew he would leave me in the dust. So I was going to be on my own to remember this route. So we went out the day before. We did our 10 miles, which I was really glad. On the one hand, I was glad that we did it because it got me back on the bike. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But I had the route in my head. Of course, my knees were, the muscles above my knees were pretty sore. And I thought, oh, great, now I got to actually do this the next day.
That's how it is on the exercise bike.
Yeah,
I'm like, I haven't been on a bike in a long time.
Yes. Well, when we went out on Saturday, I did fine on the bike until about mile 6. And we weren't going fast. We were just kind of doing it so that I could, get the feel of being on a bike again and also just get the route down. And I said to Gary, I was fine. And then it was like all of a sudden, mile 6, both of the muscles above my knees, just kind of started to get sore. Well, by the time I finished at the 10-mile mark, I was pretty sore, but that's okay.
So you're getting older. You need a hot tub now.
Well, Pete, this is hysterical. So now Sunday comes. So we do the run, right? Yep. So I beat Gary in the run, which we knew what would happen. I would beat Gary in the run. I would beat Gary in the swim, and Gary would blow my pants off in the cycling.
Right.
Which is what happened, which was fine. We expected that. So we did the run. That was fine. We did the bike ride, and I mean, my knees were sore when we started. So I had taken an Advil before I even started this thing because I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have soreness. But you know what? I did it. My goal on the run was to do a 9-minute mile, and I did better than that.
Okay.
And my goal on the bike ride, because when Gary and I did it together, it was like an hour and 8 minutes for 10 miles. But again, we weren't racing; we were just
pushing,
sort of.
Yeah.
But I did it the next day myself in 53 minutes. Gary finished about 10 minutes ahead of me on the bike ride, but I was very pleased with that.
Yep.
And then the pool was hysterical because our friends have a solar cover. So we go to get in the pool. It's like a bathtub. It was so nice, and it felt so nice on my knees. So even though cardio-wise, Gary found the pool to be the hardest, and we had to do 25 laps. So it was like 50 lengths because it's 500 meters.
Sure, yeah.
So it was, I did that. I did that in I don't remember what my time was for the pool, but anyway, I beat Gary by a couple minutes in the pool. So, I got to tell you though, when we finished it, we felt great. I mean, I felt really good. I felt like we accomplished this. We've never done it. I've never done anything like this before, but it was a lot of fun. And, it was not any big official race that, a regular triathlon was, but we did all of it, and we had a good time. So,
yeah. So I wanted to do more on Saturday, but I woke up and now I know that my bed at home is very soft because the bed in the hotel was very hard and my back was a pretzel when I woke up on Saturday morning. I was like,
yeah.
I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do today. I'll try.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, I want to get back anyways. Would have been her mom's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls wanted to go to the gravesite and put mums on it for the fall.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so we
'cause
got
she
back
just lost her
early.
mom,
Yeah. So we got back early, and it was just a nice night away.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of like change of scenery.
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody's feeling that. Like, I just need a change of scenery. I think that's a good way to put it, Pete.
Yeah, like we want to go cover the rocket launch, so I'm working at the end of the month. So I'm working on lining up my COVID test when I come back.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know, and I got to talk to my doctor anyways. I need to schedule an appointment with him because I found almost like a recombinant exercise bike.
Yeah, a recumbent exercise bike.
So, but it's not quite that. It's from
Okay.
this company called Teeter, the guy that makes the back stuff.
Okay.
The back stretcher thing.
Yeah.
It's a stair stepper arm thing, but it's on a lower seat.
Yep.
And it's not as hard on your knees.
Yeah.
And I think if I checked with the FSA, the flexible spending.
Yes.
If he thinks would be very valuable to me, and he writes a letter or something, right, that I could pay for it with those funds. So I was like, well, I couldn't afford it. And then I was like, well, maybe I can.
Yep.
So I need to schedule an appointment with my doctor.
You know, I know when we do fitness classes at the senior center,
Mm-hmm.
back in the old days when we could go in the senior center and do fitness classes, we would always give receipts for people who signed up for fitness because in some cases they could use those for their insurance purposes and, you know, because they're being proactive in trying to stay healthy.
But I put a lot of money in the FSA every year just because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep, which is the flexible spending account for those of you that don't know what FSA stands for.
For healthcare, right?
Yes, for healthcare.
So I usually buy a lot of medical supplies and give them away to my family and friends and stuff and keep them.
I didn't really think to do that.
At the end of the year, if I don't use the money, I buy it. Like we now have a med kit in here that I bought with my last year's money. So
we used to have one with Gary. I don't have one through the city. Yeah, because I don't have one through the city because we had one through Trinity when Gary worked for Trinity.
Right.
But we would usually do like the glasses at the end of the. You know, if we had any money left over,
sure,
it's like, okay, do we need an eye exam? Yes, it's been 2 years.
Yeah, there's an online website, FSA store, where you can buy stuff at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually buy glasses every other year, that type of thing. But usually it's for dental.
Yeah.
If I need major dental work, the dental plan is good, but it's not that good. And you still have to pay a lot out of pocket.
Yeah.
So I keep a lot in there for that.
Sounds good. All right, it is 6:17.
We've chatted long enough.
We have chatted long enough. And by the way, just to give you a little heads up, I have my guest is coming in at right around 7 because I do have to finish a few minutes early today because of brown bag. We'll talk about that later. So let's take our first break. We'll play the song, and then I'll tell you why we're playing the song. We're going to listen to Otis Redding singing Dock of the Bay. It is 6:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15.
Community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Noble Hospital, a brand new name for a Westfield institution which is improving the health of our community every day with quality and compassion. Noble Hospital and Bay State Health, better together.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So second hour, we will be joined by Alyssa Desereau from, she's the marketing director at the Arbors of Westfield. And for the first time in 6 months, Pete, on this show, we are actually going to have a live person in the studio with us, sitting 6 feet away from me on the other side of the table. So Pete and I are pretty excited about that. We have been solo with people on
There
the
you go.
telephone. Yeah, there you go. We're actually going to have somebody on the other side of the table. So we're happy about that. So Alicia will join us at around 7 o'clock. So we just listened to Otis Redding singing Dock of the Bay because, of course, today is the birthday of the late Otis Redding. He was born September 9th, 1941 in Dawson, Georgia. Singer-songwriter Otis Redding was discovered after recording These Arms of Mine. Known for his sincere emotional delivery, Redding became the voice of soul music. On December 6th, 1967, Redding recorded Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay. The song hit number 1 on the pop and R&B charts the following year, but Redding would not live to see his success. 4 days after the recording session on December 10th, 1967, Redding and four members of his band, the band was called the Bar Keys, were killed after their chartered plane crashed into a Wisconsin lake. Did you know that he died in a
No.
plane crash? I can't believe all the musicians who have died in plane crashes.
Yeah,
What's
well,
the deal with this?
They went cheaply, and it
And
was
chartered, I guess, yeah.
small private planes,
Yep.
most of them.
Wow. So Redding was only 26 years old when he died. I mean, I had no idea. I didn't know. In 1989, Redding was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and 10 years later, he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammy Awards. So happy birthday to the late Otis Redding. So, yeah. I mean, you think about it. John Denver died in a plane crash, and
Well, that was experimental that he built.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, John Denver was an experimental aircraft.
Well, guess what? That didn't. How'd that work out for you? That did not work out well.
He was an avid flyer. He was good at it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
but still,
those
yeah,
things happen.
they do. All right. It is also the birthday of singer, songwriter, and guitarist John McPhee. He was born September 9th, 1950 in Santa Cruz, California. He's 70 years old today. John McPhee was a longtime member of the pop rock group The Doobie Brothers. He was a session musician for many years before joining the Doobie Brothers. Some of McPhee's early and non-Doobie Brothers work includes playing pedal steel guitar on Van Morrison's Tupelo Honey and Sonny Dominic's Preview albums. And he recorded with many other artists, including Steve Miller, The Grateful Dead, Boz Scaggs, Emmylou Harris, Janis Ian, Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, Crystal Gayle, the Beach Boys, Twiggy, and Chicago. And I'm starting to think that every session musician on the planet at one time or another played with Chicago because it was
such a big band.
Such a big band. It was such a big group. But anyway,
Yep.
happy birthday to John McPhee. That's quite a list of artists that he performed with, and it's kind of a diverse group. You know what I mean? It wasn't like all one genre or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. And it is also we have lots of birthdays today, but we'll stick with the musical ones first. It is also the birthday of singer-songwriter Michael Bublé. He was born September 9th, 1975 in Burnaby, Canada. He's 45 years old today. Michael Bublé is a classic jazz and soul singer who cites Stevie Wonder, Frank Sinatra, and Ella Fitzgerald as his major influences. At age 17, he entered and won the British Columbia Youth Talent Search, launching his career. But Bublé's real break, this is so cool, his real break came during a performance at a party for Michael McSweeney, who was a former advisor to the Canadian Prime Minister. McSweeney was so impressed with Bublé's performance that he began circulating the performer's independent album, which soon fell into the hands of Prime Minister Brian Mulroney and his wife. In 2000, the couple invited Bublé to sing at their daughter's wedding. So he's singing at the wedding of the daughter of the Prime Minister of Canada.
Right.
Now, during the festivities, the singer was introduced to wedding guest David Foster, a Grammy-winning producer and Warner Brothers music executive. The following year, Foster signed Bublé to the 143 Records label, and the two began work on the singer's first major label release. In 2004, at the age of 28, Michael Bublé officially arrived on the international music scene winning Best New Talent at Canada's prestigious Juno Awards, which is kind of the equivalent to our Grammys.
Yep.
His third album release, It's Time, in 2005, topped the success of his debut. It sold over 5 million copies worldwide and remained on the Billboard Jazz charts for 2 years. The album's single, Home, was a fan favorite. The song shot to the #1 spot in more than 10 countries, and it had the distinction of being the most played song on Canadian radio that year. Now, the reason that I love this story about Michael Bublé is because I think it illustrates something that Gary and I have been preaching for years and years because we've both taught at the college level, and that is the art of networking. And so here you have this guy who, was in the right place at the right time playing for this McSweeney, who was impressed enough to, circulate the album, got into the hands of the prime minister, played for his daughter's wedding, met this, music producer, and the rest is history, as they say.
Sure.
So, talent will get you, a job. Education will get you a job. But, honestly, networking will really get you a job.
Right, yeah.
So you have to learn the art of schmoozing. So for all
Pick
of
your
you.
spots.
Right. For all
For all
of
you people who are stuck in your phones.
Yes. For you college students, put your phones down, establish eye contact and make a good impression. And that is really, that's how you do it.
Right.
So happy 45th birthday to Michael Bublé. That was pretty cool. We'll do one more before the break. It is the birthday of the late actor Cliff Robertson. Cliff Robertson was born September 9th, 1923 in La Jolla, California. He died on September 10th, 2011, so it was a day after his 88th birthday. Cliff Robertson's career in film and television spanned half a century. He portrayed a young John F. Kennedy in the 1963 film PT 109. He won the 1968 Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in the film Charlie. Did you ever see the movie Charlie?
No.
Pete, it is I think it's just one of the best movies. It was based on the book Flowers for Algernon, which was a science fiction. That actually was written in 1958 as a science fiction short story. And I remember reading Flowers for Algernon, I think for a high school literature class. It was either high school or college. But anyway, it subsequently, in 1966, it was turned into a novel by Daniel Keyes. But the story is about a guy named Charlie Gordon, who is cognitively impaired. He is selected by 2 doctors to undergo a surgical procedure that triples his IQ, as it did for Algernon, who was this mouse that they were doing these experiments on with IQ. So the story follows in the film and in the book, the story follows Charlie's transformation as his IQ increases over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can see the storyline as he develops, and a surprise ending leaves the audience stunned. On television, Cliff Robertson portrayed retired astronaut Buzz Aldrin in the 1976 adaptation of Aldrin's autobiographic Return to Earth. He played a fictional character based on director of Central Intelligence Richard Helms in the 1977 miniseries Washington Behind Closed Doors, and he portrayed Henry Ford in Ford, the Man and the Machine, and that was done in 1987. Cliff Robertson's last well-known film appearances were as Uncle Ben in the 2002 to 2007 Spider-Man film trilogy.
Okay.
So happy birthday to actor Cliff Robertson, the late Cliff Robertson. It is 6:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to listen to Real Love by the Doobie Brothers in honor of the birthday of John McPhee. We'll be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England. Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and Pete Coles, our producer, chairman of the board, is behind the glass in his secluded booth over there. Joins me this morning at the studio, and we have Alicia Desereau, who's going to be joining us from the Arbors at Westfield a little after 7 o'clock this morning, and Alicia is actually going to be in the studio with us. So Pete and I are pretty excited about that. We haven't had too many, at least on the Wake Up Wednesday show, we haven't had any guests in the studio since the pandemic hit 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Pete. I remember when all this started, and we were doing all this planning, and well, we were thinking, and I was thinking, we were being overly cautious, and we were thinking 2 months. So that's what we thought. We thought, okay, we're going to be shut down for 2 months. And I remember initially I was like, all right, we got to clean the senior center. We have like 8 weeks to get all this done while there was nobody in the building. This is going to be a great opportunity. And oh my goodness, how wrong we were. Yeah, exactly. So listen, we have more birthdays to do. But before we do that, we should talk about the fact that September is National Courtesy Month. So let's talk a little bit about common courtesy, which is sometimes not as common as we like to think it should be. It takes little effort to extend kindness. The entire month of September gives us ample opportunity to practice being kind. It's National Courtesy Month. The word courteous comes from the Middle English word kindness, which means noble deeds or courtesy. One of the greatest novelists in the English language, Henry James, once said, "3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. The third is to be kind." So what does it mean to be courteous? Well, courtesy can mean several things to different people. To some, being courteous means being helpful. To others, being courteous means to be polite and have good manners. Courtesy can be words spoken or an action towards someone. Courtesy is about manners and respect. How you choose to show someone courtesy is entirely up to you. Courtesy should never have limits for people you know. Showing a stranger common courtesy should be the defining factor of their day. Oftentimes, a small gesture, such as a compliment, can make a person feel appreciated. When people are considerate to one another, a positive effect happens. Moods improve and smiles are easily found. Starting your day with a polite demeanor will have a ripple effect for the people that you encounter. How to observe National Courtesy Month? There are so many ways to show kindness to people through courtesy. Hold the door open for the people behind you. Mow your elderly neighbor's lawn or bring in their trash cans. Compliment that shy person that you see every day on the bus. Above all, smile at everyone you meet. So, lots of ways to celebrate National Courtesy Month.
Yep.
I like that. Just a little reminder for you. Let's do a few announcements. Then we'll get back to some birthdays in a few minutes. So we have at the Senior Center, like next week, big week at the Senior Center on Thursday, September 17th. We have what is now our annual Cops for a Cause Chili Luncheon. So the tickets have gone on sale. They are $5 a piece for this luncheon because a portion of the proceeds from every ticket sold will go to our local Alzheimer's Association. And I just want to reiterate that does stay locally. We are within the Springfield chapter. And we do our Council on Aging here in Westfield, as well as all of the other, Western Mass COAs, utilize the services and the resources of the Alzheimer's Association a lot. I refer, a lot of people to them because they offer support groups and research and information and referral services, and they're just a wealth of information. So this is our way of supporting them. The dinner will be Mark Carbonneau, our Senior Safety Officer, Mark Carbonneau's special chili recipe, which, by the way, is in it now, right, Pete? An award-winning chili recipe.
Correct.
Because he won the chili cook-off at the YMCA
Correct.
this
Yep.
year. Because we partnered with the COA partnered with the police department. So it was Mark's chili, and it was Joanne Boucher's cornbread. Her special cornbread. It's not just any cornbread. She has this special ingredient that just is like mouth-watering. And then we've also added Joe Slaw, which is Joanne's famous, now famous coleslaw, that she's added some special ingredients to that as well. So that's your main course. And then for dessert, what would a big party at the Senior Center be without an ice cream sundae? So, last year when we did it at the Senior Center, we had all the police on the stage. There's a picture in yesterday's Westfield News front page of last year's police group they did assembly line making the ice cream sundaes. Well, they will be pre-made, but the police officers will be distributing them. So we'll have Chief Valier will be there. We'll have both of the captains, Captain McCabe, Mike McCabe, and Jerome Petoniak will be there. Kevin Bard, who's in charge of the community policing unit, and of course our own Senior Safety Officer, Mark Carbonneau. So they will all be in the parking lot to greet you. Senator Velas will be there with his legislative aides. And, of course, Gary Gorman is my, volunteer extraordinaire, would not miss this event. And Barbara Martone, our other volunteer extraordinaire, our male and female volunteers extraordinaire will be there. And Kathy Millis will be helping out. The whole COA staff will be there. So I would really encourage people to, to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be this is a first for us, Pete. We're going to try a 50-50 curbside drawing. So the way that's going to work is it's $5 for a sheet of tickets. And we're going to have there's a master ticket on the sheet of tickets. So you're going to purchase $5. There are 25 tickets on the sheet. We're going to put your name on the master part. We're going to put that to the one side. We're going to take all those other little tickets. We're going to put those on the other side. When the event is over, we're going to take all those. We're going to break up all the tickets and put them all in a big bucket.
Okay.
And then we're going to take the master tickets and keep them over here on the side so that when we pull the winning ticket, we can match the number to the master number with your name on it.
Good idea.
So we're going to do that. Mark Carbino will be drawing the winning ticket the next day, and we will telephone the person. Whatever is in the pot, that person's going to get half the money. The other half will go to the Alzheimer's Association. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to require a lot of work and help on the day of. So we have that all mapped out. Who's going to be where? We'll have tents set up for the tickets, and we have a nice little gift that the police department will be giving away to each of the participants. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you would like to participate, you need to call us in advance. We still have room, but we've already sold half the tickets. But we put a pretty big number on this. We are capping it at 200. So day one, we've already sold almost 100 tickets, but we still have plenty left. So give us a call, 562-6435 at the Senior Center, and just say you'd like to make a reservation for however many. You can call for up to 4 people. Just have to give us their names. And we'll put you on the list, and Mary will take that call, put you on the list, and we'll all live happily ever after. So that's next Thursday. It's the regular lunchtime between 11 and 12. You'll do your lunch pickup. We're going to snake you all through the parking lot. And I think it's really going to be a lot of fun for a worthy cause. And it's really a nice opportunity. As Chief Valier said, there was a really nice article in yesterday's Westfield News. There was a front page article that Lori Sapalik wrote on the event. And I know she got some quotes from both Mark Carbino as well as Chief Valier, who said, it's really nice to interact with the community in a fun and festive environment and not when you're on a police call.
Right.
Because obviously they have to interact with you, with people on police calls. That's their job. But, they also want you to see them in a different light, in sort of the helping out the community. So that is our special event with the police this month, and we have another special event with the police in October, but we'll talk about that, in the weeks to come, and that'll be in the October newsletter. So
speaking of things in the newsletter,
yes,
your shows are doing really well in syndication.
Are they really? Oh, do tell, Pete.
Gary's Moving and Grooving 3 is up to 18 affiliates.
Wow! Oh my gosh, he's going to be so excited about that.
And the first one has 8.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's great. That's really good.
There's a couple in New Jersey that have apparently this Wisconsin place is all over it because they've downloaded a lot of senior center stuff.
That's awesome. So explain to
Algoma
our listening
Community Access Television.
So explain to our listeners, Pete, what that means.
So the company that we use, Telview, sells systems to cable accesses all over the country. And they have a program where you upload your programs to get it into your system called Connect. Mm-hmm. Within Connect, it's a web-based cloud system. You can syndicate the show and basically put it out there and say, anybody that wants to download it and run it, you have our permission to do so.
Right.
So we put it out there, and I know you told a lot of people about that in your meetings and stuff like that. And apparently they notified a lot of Massachusetts, some New Hampshire. But then we get weird ones like New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oradell, New Jersey. This guy downloads everything.
And the funny thing is that I know where because Gary and I both grew up in northern New Jersey, so I know where Oradell, New Jersey is. That's so funny.
We should find out their cable access schedule and see if they post it.
Yeah.
But then Algoma City, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Is picking this up.
That's great.
I okay.
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
But I mean, some of the stuff around here, Lakeville, Lexington, Milton.
Yes. Yeah, because
a lot of Eastern Mass communities picked it up.
Well, because I think the MCOA, the Massachusetts Association of Councils on Aging, got a hold of it because we have a representative, Kelly Burke, from MCOA, who participates in our regional meetings. So we kind of feed the information to her, and that's the whole idea, is that we're all sharing information from all parts of the state.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly, and
especially if you're a smaller council, you don't have the money.
And not everybody, as everybody in Western Mass keeps saying, teen, we don't have a Pete Coles. They don't have a Pete Coles to do all this stuff. So
yeah.
So Westfield is, you know what, Pete?
And a Ken Stomsky a lot
and
of
a Ken
times too.
Stomsky, I know, helping out. But you know what? It's really important for people to understand that, because so often, I know when we were at the old senior center, people would always compare, oh, Tino, we don't have, like Agawam had a brand new senior center. This was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. But, we have certain things that other communities don't have. And I'm going to point out, too, we have a Pete Coles, who's our media systems specialist, which a lot of other communities don't have anyone nearly as talented and dedicated as Pete is to what you do in this for the city. And the other person that I'm going to shout out to is Karen Noblet, our senior benefits coordinator. I mean, Karen could do trainings on Medicare, fuel assistance, SNAP benefits. She confers with the regional coordinator, who's calling Karen and asking Karen her opinion on, what do you think we should do about this? And how do you think we should handle that?
Sure.
So, Karen is a full-time city-paid employee. Most of the people that are doing the SHINE, which is serving the health information needs of the elderly, most of the people who are doing SHINE programs are just volunteers, and they might be doing it for a couple hours a week at their local senior center. So, in some cases, they're maybe not quite as comfortable or computer savvy. They obviously they have to have computer skills,
but other senior councils on aging don't have a lot of money.
That's right.
Like I know.
Right.
Wendy, my brother's wife, is one of like three or four.
Where is she, Pete?
Hamden.
Yeah. Oh, right. Hamden is really tiny.
Right. It's a small town, so they don't have a lot of staff.
Correct.
And they do a lot of work,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Becky Moriarty's the director there, and she's fabulous.
Yeah. Becky Becky's a cousin.
Oh.
We found out.
There you go. Well, Becky's also on. She's also on the staff for MCOA, because her job in Hamden is not a full. I don't think that's quite a full-time job. So
yeah, some of the other staffers are full-time, but I don't think the director's full-time.
Yeah, so it's kind of as you say, Pete. You have to use the resources that you have. But, again, I think Westfield has years ago, and I can't put any claim to Karen's position, because although once I became director, we upgraded that position. And when I started, I think Karen was like 25 hours a week, but she is, over the years, I've kept increasing that until she's now full time. And, so those are just two really fabulous resources through Westfield.
But
go ahead.
I was just going through, and I think I posted the senior center is its Alzheimer's, and that caught a lot of people's attention. That got 16 affiliates right off the bat.
Wow.
That caught a lot of, I think, because of the way I phrased it.
Okay.
People are like, ooh, whoa, hey, whoa.
Right. And September is Alzheimer's, I think Alzheimer's Awareness Month or something, not quite that name, but something like that. So that's, the Alzheimer's Walk happens this month. And so I know Beth Cardillo is virtually doing the walk, I think, this year.
Yeah, that got him into Vermont and stuff. I was like, whew.
That's awesome. I think that's such a great use of technology, and really people.
Well, it's just people that happen to have the same system, and then I think other people are getting it from YouTube.
Yep.
Because we put it in that location, and I told people grab it from there if you need to.
Yep, absolutely. And all of the YouTube programming and how our seniors can access that is in the September Voice of Experience newsletter. And I'm also putting it in October. I'm just going to keep putting that in there. So as we pick up new people,
yep.
They have all of that information. So.
And I've gotten into trains lately.
Good stuff. Really?
I've developed an affiliateship with a YouTube provider called Delay and Block. I think he's out of the Midwest.
Okay.
I emailed him and said, hey, can I run some of your He does these great hour and a half, 45-minute, hour and a half on different railroads and stuff. And I'm like, can I run some of your stuff? And he's like, oh my God, I'd be so thrilled. And I'm like, so okay. So I'm running his stuff.
Very cool.
He's psyched about that.
Very cool. Now, Pete, did you Did you get the email that I sent you on? I know Renee Ricks is going to.
Yeah, she's coming
She's
today.
going to update, and I don't want to say it out loud because it's a surprise in the October.
Yeah, I got to
newsletter
email
for
them
the
back
other-
and get
okay.
coordinate with them because they're like,
Okay.
give me your 2-week schedule. I'm like, I can't do that. Just
Okay.
give me a couple days.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
2
Okay.
weeks. 2 weeks with all these meetings and stuff.
I know.
I can't do that.
I know, but I got to get them in here.
Yep.
All right, a few more birthdays. Oh wait, is it time to take a break? Where am I? Yeah, it's time to take a break. It's past time to take a break. Let's take a short break, and then we'll finish up some birthdays, and Alicia will be joining us at the top of the hour. This one is See You in September by The Happenings, because there are a lot of September songs out there. So each week I'm doing one different September song.
I'll be alone each and every night. While you're away, don't forget to write. Bye-bye, so long, farewell. Bye-bye, so long. See you in September. See you when the summer's through. Here we are, saying goodbye at the station. Summer vacation is taking you away. Have a good time, but remember, there is danger in the summer moon above. Will I see you in September, or lose you to a summer love? Counting the hours and the minutes too. Bye, baby, goodbye. Bye, baby, goodbye. Bye, baby, goodbye. Bye, baby, goodbye. Have a good time, but remember, there is danger in the summer moon above. Will I see you in September, or lose you to a summer love? While you're away, don't forget to write. Bye-bye, so long, farewell. In September, so long, farewell. Bye-bye, so long, farewell. In September, so long.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardy siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:55. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. You know, that never gets old, Pete. Every time I hear Bob say, I did it, it never
It's
gets
the pure
old.
joy of it.
I know.
can
He's
tell
like
he's
a little
just so
kid.
happy, yes.
I know. All right, we have a few more birthdays to do. My phone just buzzed, and I'm going to guess it's Alicia. Nope, it's not. It's Julie Barnes. Okay, I was thinking, is it Alicia? Like, I can't find the door or something, but she'll be here. All right, so today, September 9th, in 1960 in London, England, Hugh Grant, the actor, was born. He's 60 years old today. He can join the Westfield Senior Center today, Pete. I just realized that. I usually write a little note on my cheat sheet, and I forgot. Hugh, come on over. So
You would love that, wouldn't you?
oh my God, I just think Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant is he is the kind of guy where Gary and I see him, and we just start laughing. He doesn't even have to say anything, because if you've ever seen him in one of his comedies, It's very subtle, but it's that English accent. And anyway, the hit 1994 comedy Four Weddings and a Funeral earned Hugh Grant a Golden Globe Award and made him an international heartthrob. He appeared in several successful films shortly thereafter, including Sense and Sensibility in 1995. He was firmly reinstated as one of Hollywood's most charming leading men when he returned to a romantic comedy with 1999's Notting Hill opposite Julia Roberts. That same year, he also starred in the mafia comedy Mickey Blue Eyes. A year later, Hugh Grant starred in Bridget Jones' Diary opposite Renee Zellweger. While he continued appearing in films in both big and small roles, Grant made a huge impression in 2016 with the lighthearted biopic Florence Foster Jenkins, earning a Golden Globe nomination for his role opposite Meryl Streep. And I don't know anything about that movie, but I love Meryl Streep and I love Hugh Grant. I feel like I need to go find this movie and watch it. It's called Florence Foster Jenkins. Have you ever heard of it, Pete?
No.
I just don't remember anything about it. And it's only 4 years old. So I'm gonna research that one. But anyway, happy 60th birthday, Hugh Grant. And just to let you know, Hugh, come on over to the senior center. Just come on over, sign up. We're gonna put you in my senior center. It is also speaking of comedians, it is also the birthday of actor-comedian Adam Sandler. He was born September 9th, 1966 in Brooklyn, New York. He's 54 years old today. After becoming a Saturday Night Live cast member, Adam Sandler went on to star in many Hollywood feature films, which have combined to earn more than $2 billion at the box office.
With a B.
Yeah, with a B. Sandler is best known for his comedic roles including Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, The Wedding Singer, Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds, 50 First Dates, The Longest Yard, Grown Ups, Just Go With It, and Murder Mystery. And that, by the way, is not the complete list. Those are like just the ones that I've really heard of or have seen. Mm-hmm. Though he is associated predominantly with broad comedies, Adam Sandler has consistently earned critical praise for his occasional dramatic performances in films such as Punch Drunk Love, Spanglish, Reign Over Me, and Funny People. Yep. So happy 54th birthday to Adam Sandler. It is also the birthday, by the way, it's 7 o'clock, and I do have to say, you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. But we're going to finish these two birthdays before we take our top of the hour break. It's the birthday of the late Colonel Sanders, entrepreneur born September 9th, 1890, and he died in 1980. So he was 90 years old when he died. He was born in Henryville, Indiana. Harland David Sanders, that was his real name, was born in Henryville, Indiana. After his father died when he was 6 years old, Sanders became responsible for feeding and taking care of his younger brother and sister. Beginning at an early age, he held down numerous jobs, including farmer, streetcar conductor, railroad fireman, and insurance salesman. At the age of 40, Harland Sanders was running a popular Kentucky service station that also served food. So popular, in fact, that the governor of Kentucky designated him a Kentucky colonel. Eventually, Sanders focused on franchising his fried chicken business around the country, collecting a payment for each chicken sold. The company went on to become the world's largest fast food chicken chain, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So happy birthday to the late Colonel Sanders. And finally, I think this is my last one. Yep. And finally, it is the birthday of actress Angela Cartwright. She was born September 9th, 1952 in Cheshire, England. She's 68 years old today. Angela Cartwright moved with her family to Los Angeles and started her acting career at the age of 3, playing Paul Newman's daughter in the movie Somebody Up There Likes Me. At the age of 4, she was cast to play Linda Williams on the hit television series The Danny Thomas Show. She played Brigitta Von Trapp in the film The Sound of Music, and then Penny Robinson in the television show Lost in Space. She has guest starred in numerous television shows, commercials, and movies under her multiple-decade career in show business. So happy birthday to actress Angela Cartwright, 68 years old today. It's hard to believe all these little kids, these little actresses and actors are all grown up these days.
Sure, yeah.
All right, it is 7:02. You are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. When we come back, we will be joined by our guest this morning, Alicia Desereau from the Arbors at Westfield. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
Saturdays were made for polka. Tune in to the Polka Jammer Network starting at 6 a.m. and Polka Hall of Famer Billy Bellina, Breakfast at BB at 8:30.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:05. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. We have Pete Coles over there behind his glass. Yep, there you go. And we have a real live guest in the studio this morning. We're so excited. I'm joined this morning by Alicia. Do you pronounce it Alicia or Alicia?
Alicia.
Alicia. Okay. You know what? They all confuse me.
As long as it's close, I don't mind.
Alicia. Okay. Alicia Desereau from the Arbors at Westfield. Alicia is the Director of Marketing at the Arbors. So before we get to Alicia, and I'm going to let her settle and just take a breath because she was stuck in traffic on the way over here.
Thanks, Tina.
As much traffic as you can have in Westfield.
Sure, yeah. Right.
But I do need to make a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to remind folks that our seniors that there is no curbside meal this Friday, which is September 11th. The staff is doing their recertification for CPR and AED. we're being proactive because someday the senior center is going to reopen. I promise it will really reopen, and when it does, it's going to be super clean and super cleaned out. But anyway, our certification ends this month, and so we're all being trained. Ed Mello is coming over, Pete, to do our training from the Medical Reserve Corps, as he does every couple of years. So no curbside meal on Friday. And also, for those of you who wanted to get flu shots at the senior center, we are full as of yesterday. We are maintaining a very short waiting list. So I told Mary she could keep 6 or 8 people on a wait list, because we are reminding people, even though they're signed up for the flu shot, if at the time of the shot you don't feel well, if you're sick, if you are quarantining, then you need to not come to your flu shot and just let us know, and then we'll go to somebody who's on the wait list.
Right.
So
I think it's used for health reasons, because it's not good to add more virus to your.
No. And everybody who signed up for a flu shot with us will get a letter of confirmation with some, a detailed list of instructions on what you need to do that day. The letter has been drafted, and I sent it to Deb Melvena at the health department. And Deb said, it's great right now, but let's wait a couple weeks before we send it out, because things are changing so fast. She said there may be some other things that we want to add to the letter, because they're getting more directives from the state health department. So everybody who signed up, all 100 of you, will get the confirmation letter. We're going to send it out the 3rd week in September, and that way, if Deb needs to add anything, we can throw it on there. But unfortunately, we are full. We did encourage people last week. I said, if you want a flu shot, sign up, because they were going fast. And then there was an article. Lori Sapalik they put a front page article in the Westfield News. I think it was last Thursday, with flu shots at the senior center with the health department going fast. And literally, Pete, our phone was ringing off the hook. We took like 35 calls in about a half an hour.
And seniors don't go on the web.
No. They
they do.
No. So anyway, all right. So that's that. My guest this morning is Alicia Desereau, Director of Marketing at the Arbors of Westfield. So welcome, Alicia.
Thanks, Tina. It's good to be here.
Well, Pete and I are really excited to have you here, because we've been telling our listeners all morning that you're the first in-person guest that we've had in 6 months. Everybody else has called in. So, and that includes, some of our regulars who are on the show with us once a month. But obviously, when we first started, Pete was there, I was here, everything was sterilized, sanitized, which it, by the way, does get every day at the end of the day. So, and we're here first thing in the morning, so everything's fine. And just to let our audience know, the table is 6 feet, so we are 6 feet apart, which is why we don't have our masks on this morning. But so Alicia, I always say Alicia, so I gotta change that.
That's okay.
I like to start out with, when I have a guest that hasn't been here. We've had people from the Arbors here, but not for a while.
Okay.
And not you.
No.
So I like to always start with just a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
Sure.
And
so
then kind of your work history. How did you end up where you are? Because I always like to say, I'm sure when you were in 3rd grade and your teacher said, what do you want to be when you grow up? You didn't say, I want to be a director of marketing for, a senior living residence. So how did you end up where you are?
So I grew up in Enfield in Connecticut.
Okay. Close by, local girl. Yep.
Very, very close. I went to college at Western Connecticut State University in Danbury.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Small school, right?
Very small. Very small.
I remember
right on the
looking
New
at
York
that.
border.
Yes, it's right. Yeah, it's real, like 7 miles from the New York
Not
border.
even, I don't think.
Right on 84. I remember visiting that with Gary's sister, my husband's sister, when she was college hunting. And that was one of the schools that we looked at, one of the little schools that we looked at.
Yeah, it was nice. It was just big enough and just far enough away from home that I got to stay there. And then when I came home.
Now, what did you study when you were in school?
I studied marketing.
Oh, okay.
So it was broad enough that I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in marketing when I was 18.
Sure.
But I knew that I wanted to do something with it. So when I graduated, I ended up working at Brooks Brothers back in Enfield.
Now, Brooks Brothers, the shoe?
Brooks Brothers, the clothing line.
Clothing line, okay.
Yep. Oldest clothing line in America.
Really?
Yes.
Now, is it men and women or just men? Or
Majority of men, but they do have women's clothing as well.
Okay.
And it was nice. It was right around the corner from my parents' house.
Yeah.
Right after I graduated. And coming into the Arbors was honestly a happy accident. A friend.
So you went from Brooks Brothers to the Arbors?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
talk
I
about
know.
how that happened, because that is really two completely different things. Marketing, but two
Right.
very different.
So I was looking for something different. I needed to grow. I had kind of outgrown Brooks Brothers.
Okay.
And my friend happened to be working for the Arbors at Chicopee at the time, and he said, let me just take your resume. He said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I just kind of fell in love with what I do. And when I started working for the Arbors, the light bulb just kind of went off. Like, I
Now,
love this.
Alicia, when you started, did you start in Westfield, or did
I did.
you start? So, and how long have you been in Westfield now?
A little over 2 years.
Okay. And so what was that? I mean, that is so totally different than retail and what you were doing and so forth. So how did you learn about it? Like, how did you even figure out what you were doing here?
I had great mentors, teaching me everything.
Okay.
But I was also, while I was at Brooks Brothers, while I was in college, I was a server also. So having that
Did not know that.
super social background and getting to talk to people, it was very helpful in what I had to do. And the nice part about what I get to do is that, yes, I'm sales technically.
Sure, yeah, technically.
But I get to meet people. I get to talk to people. I get to learn about them. So I got to just be me. I wasn't salesy. I was just Alicia. So that was a really nice change.
Okay, good. So what was probably the biggest adjustment for you from going from your previous job to your job at the Arbors?
Having to talk to people all day long.
Okay.
At my previous job, I sat in a cubicle and I had my headphones in, and I didn't necessarily talk to people at all during the day.
What did you do? What as a marketer? What were you doing there?
I was working on the website.
Okay.
So it was all.
So it was more technology.
E-commerce on the IT side, the back end systems.
Okay.
So when I came in to the Arbors, it was, okay, you have to talk to people all day long now.
Exactly. It's like, well, this is so different.
It was night and day.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good. So now we know how you got to where you got. Okay, which is great. Where you are. So let's take a little bit of a break. It is 7:13. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My guest this morning, for those of you who are just joining us, is Alicia Desereau, the Director of Marketing with the Arbors here in Westfield. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Arbors and what it is, and we're going to let Alicia kind of do her marketing, sort of piece of it so that we have a better understanding. We are going to listen to, and I chose a song on purpose. I always try to choose at least one song that has to do with my guest's topic. So this one really coincided nicely with the birthday of Michael Bublé, and the song is called Home. So we're going to talk about home.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. And I've been keeping all the letters that I wrote to you, each one a line or two. I'm fine, baby, how are you? Well, I would send them, but I know that it's just not enough. My words were cold and flat, and you deserve more than that. Another airplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky, I know, but I wanna go home. I got to go home. Let me go home. I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. This was not your dream, but you always believed in me. Another winter day has come and gone away in either Paris or Rome, and I wanna go home. Let me go home. And I'm surrounded by a million people. I still feel alone, and let me go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. I've had my run, baby, I'm done. I gotta go home. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And in the studio with me this morning is Alicia Desereau, Director of Marketing with the Arbors at Westfield. Good morning again, Alicia.
Good morning, Tina.
So glad to have you here. So we talked a little bit about your background and how you ended up at the Arbor. So this is this is kind of a game changer for you in terms of career, because obviously different than what you were doing previously.
Right.
So let's talk. What I would like to do is talk a little bit about, let's start with, what is the Arbors? I mean, it's an assisted living facility. So what does that mean? What are the services? Let's start there, and then we're going to morph into, when do people think that it's ready for them to get into assisted living, and, how's that decision made, and payment and those kinds of things. But let's just talk first about what assisted living is and what's offered at the Arbors.
Sure. So assisted living for us is a real wide range of services that we offer. We offer a lot of help day to day.
Okay.
I like to say that assisted living is like renting an apartment with services right outside your door. And
I like it.
Those things that we offer are 3 meals a day. A lot of people, as they get older, they don't want to cook for themselves anymore, or they can't cook for themselves anymore. Yeah. Those meals are super important. The other important part that we do is what we call all-inclusive care. And that's a wide range of things, from helping in the shower to getting dressed to making the bed. We offer housekeeping once a week. It's all activities of daily living is what we call them. Mm-hmm. And it's just an extra little bit of help that seniors might need as they age. Mm-hmm. So we want seniors to stay as independent as they can for as long as they can, which is why we offer a care plan that can change at any time. So as you kind of age, that care plan can alter
Yep.
with the help
Or
that you need.
if you have, I know even just with seniors who are not in assisted living, but are just living, out in the community that, they have a planned surgery. Maybe they have a hip surgery or a knee replacement. And for that time period, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 or 3 months, whatever, I need some help with showering or bathing, but that doesn't mean that they're going to need it forever. Right. So, and that's no different in assisted living. I mean, because we've had, some of our senior center folks who have, gone and moved into assisted living, and they have those ups and downs. And so I think I want the listening audience to know that the program there is flexible in terms of the assistance that you need, but the meals are consistent.
Yes.
And the housekeeping, I think too, right? Once a week.
That's once a week.
Yeah, that's consistent, which right there you got me,
right.
Like, oh, perfect. Okay, an apartment, I don't have to cook, and somebody's coming in to change my sheets once a week and clean my little apartment. I'm sold.
Right.
But there are other services available if people need them.
There are.
And require them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of the other big services that we offer is medication observations.
I was going to ask you about medication because I know that's a little bit tricky.
It is.
How does that work? Like, explain that, because there's not like a med pass where there's a nurse giving out medications. That's nursing home standards, not assisted living. So how does I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to ask for clarification on what exactly can the assisted living facility staff do in terms of medication?
Sure. So we do what are called medication observations. So we're not necessarily administering medications. So family typically will come in and fill the little med boxes,
Yep.
the daily ones, and then they stay locked in a cabinet.
Okay.
And our girls will come in once a day, twice a day, whatever, and they observe our residents take their medication and they document that they took them.
Okay.
So they're standing physically right in front of them, watching, making sure.
So can they kind of do like a reminder?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 3 o'clock and it's time for your medication.
Exactly.
Now, can they get the medication out of the locked box, or does the resident have to do that?
Nope. Our staff does that.
They can do that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And by the way, since you've brought up the medication in the pill boxes, we have free pill boxes for any family member that would like to get them. We've been handing them out for the last month. They were a donation several years ago from Noble Visiting Nurse and Hospice, and when we've been cleaning out closets, and I found cartons of them. So it's full. It's for the full week. So there are 28 slots. So it's 7 days and 4 days. They're about this big. So they're big enough where people can get things out of them. And but it's nice. So if anybody wants one,
that's great.
All they have to do is call the senior center. They can either come through the lunch line at like 11:30, quarter to 12, when by that time it's kind of winding down. We bring them outside every day so that we can, distribute them. We're bringing them out for brown bag because we had some people call us saying, when I get my brown bag, can I get a pill organizer?
That's awesome.
So yeah, just so that, that, just pass that word around. We've got plenty. Families don't need to purchase them. We've got them.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. So meds, we've talked about help with bathing and showering. Now, what about dressing? Is there any assistance there, or do they need to be able to do that on their own?
No, we can assist with dressing.
Okay.
A big thing for us is a lot of seniors wear the compression stockings, and they have a really hard time putting them on. So we can absolutely help with that.
I got to tell you, have you ever tried putting on compression stockings?
Yes, I had to try one day. I didn't understand. They're so hard.
They are ridiculously hard. When my husband had his heart surgery, he had to wear them for several weeks. And, and I'm thinking, I could do, I've seen it done 1,000 times because I've seen all the nurses' aides do it. Holy smokes.
You really have to put some muscle into it.
Yeah, I can definitely understand why older adults would have difficulty doing that on their own. So, okay. So now let's talk about, so those are the services that are included. How do you find like people by the time they call you, is it that they are feeling, are they being dragged into this, or is it, I'm having a hard time at home? Are they excited about the thought of moving to assisted living? Are they feeling like, I don't really need this, I can make it on my own? Or do you see kind of all over the map?
I kind of see all over the map.
Okay.
Especially right now, it's really 50-50.
Yeah.
But I am noticing, especially because of the pandemic, I'm seeing a lot of isolation. And they're the only people that some of my potential residents are seeing are their adult children.
Yes.
And they don't get to see their friends anymore. They don't get to socialize.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for them. That's kind of the biggest push to move into assisted living is that isolation at home.
How has the Arbors kind of handled the pandemic? What have you done with that? I mean, that's,
we've got
because
really creative.
Everybody was let's face it, March, April, May, when Massachusetts was a hot spot, and the nursing homes were on lockdown, assisted livings were on lockdown. So what does that mean? Because the Arbors was on lockdown. So what does that mean? What did that mean for? It didn't mean they were starving for 3 months. So what did that mean?
It meant that we were going to them. All meals were delivered to their rooms, and residents were still getting all of their care that was on their care plan.
Yep.
And then our activities were kind of going room to room.
Yeah.
We developed an activity cart. We got really creative with that. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We were playing music in the hallways, just something to liven it up a little bit, even though the residents couldn't leave their room at the time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's so funny because it was like a microcosm of the curbside lunches that we were doing. And you're doing the same thing. You're getting creative. When we started doing parties or special events, like when we did the Mother's Day special event, our thought was, okay, usually we have a theme, and we're thinking, well, how do you do a theme when people are driving through? So our theme it was like the parade of hats, because when we were trying to figure out, well, what could you see when you looked into somebody's car? Well, you could see their head.
Right.
And everybody's wearing a mask, so it's like, okay. So we thought, well, the seniors they have been phenomenal about that. So anytime we've done anything, it's either like a T-shirt or a color, like you wear a certain color, or we did the hat. For the guys, we did for Father's Day, we did like a doo-wop thing. So you could slick your hair back or put your sunglasses on or whatever.
So fun.
But it's the same thing as what you were doing. You were using the hallway and the cart,
right?
And we're using sort of the curbside drive-through.
I found a bunch of things in my office for Cinco de Mayo, and I dressed up, and we all had sombreros on, and we had Mexican music playing in the hallway.
We missed that one.
It was so fun.
Oh, we missed that. That was great. That's awesome. Now, where do you stand now in terms of lockdown activity? Or is everyone still in apartments, or where are you with this?
We're slowly starting to pull residents out of their apartments. We just opened up the dining room last week or the week before, only for lunch and, proper social distance in tables, only a specific number of residents in there. We're slowly starting to do activities. We've been using more rooms.
Yep.
As far as that goes. So, but it's nice to see residents out of their rooms.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them back in common areas, back sitting outside on the porch.
Yeah, I have noticed a few, because I've been over there a few times and outside, and I have noticed a few outside. So kind of, walking around enjoying.
Yeah, it's nice to feel almost normal, even though everyone still has a mask on.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to people kind of considering assisted living. What are some of the things that they think about when they're trying to decide if this is something that would be good for either myself if I'm an older adult, or if a family member who's concerned, or kids or whatever? What are some of the things that they that they come to you when you're doing sort of the sales piece of it? What are their concerns, or what are the things that they are looking forward to?
Probably the biggest thing is isolation and depression.
Okay.
That's a really big thing for seniors, especially when they're still living at home alone. And to go hand in hand with that, it's taking care of the house. Is it getting difficult? Is it getting to be too much? Is the house just too big to take care of now? And then they kind of get excited to, it's very nerve-wracking. To move from one place to another, especially a house that you've been in for 40, 50 years. But they also get excited that they'll get to start to see people again every day. They get to eat lunch with people, activities, especially when I tell them that we'll go to them for activities. We'll come and get you.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about remembering or wanting to go.
Right.
We'll come find you.
Right. Perfect. All right. My guest this morning, if you're just joining us, is Alicia Desereau. She is the marketing director at the Arbors at Westfield. And we have to specify the Arbors at Westfield because there are Arbors, there are other Arbors.
Yes.
they're kind of all over the place. And it started, I assume it's still a family owned. It started as a family owned.
It is. We are still family owned and operated.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take a short break. This is in honor of National Courtesy Month. It's Glenn Campbell singing Try a Little Kindness. We'll be right back.
If you see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seeds he sowed, and if you see your sister falling by the way, well, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. That you've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you overlook the blindness. Narrow-minded people on their narrow-minded streets. Don't you walk around the down and out, lend a helping hand instead of doubt. And the kindness that you show every day is gonna help someone a long life's away. You've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you overlook the blindness. Narrow-minded people on their narrow-minded street. You've got to try a little kindness, yes, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you overlook the blindness. Narrow-minded people on their narrow-minded street.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:34. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. Pete Coles is in the studio with us behind his glass booth over there, where he's, as Harry Rock would say, where he's pushing all the buttons. And my guest this morning is Alicia Desereau, Director of Marketing at the Arbors, for the Arbors at Westfield, because there's an Arbors, and the next closest one is in Chicopee,
yes.
Right? And is there one in Amherst?
There's one in Amherst and one in Greenfield.
Okay.
And then we have 4 sites out east.
Right, in
also.
the eastern part of the state.
And then 2 in Connecticut.
Oh, yes, that's right, because your predecessor went to the one in Connecticut.
She
right?
did.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so we've talked a little bit about your background. We've talked a lot about assisted living and the services that are provided at the Arbors. So let's talk a little bit about the cost and about money and sort of how people can factor that in to assisted living, because I think most people feel like it's way out of reach for me. You know, right. I would never. Wow, that would be great, but I'd never be able to afford it. So how do you respond to that?
So the nice part about the Arbors at Westfield specifically is that I have a lot of different financial programs.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I want residents to be able to keep their money as long as they can. And I want to find what's going to fit best for them. So with that, I have some affordable programs. I have a tax credit program, which is a federal program. I have a couple tiers within that.
Okay.
And then I also have one mass health program.
Okay.
Which, it's for the, lower income.
Yep.
Which it's really great. It's kind of a broad range and no matter what program you're on, you get the same services, the same everything.
Yep. Yeah, which is really nice because I think that a lot of people weren't aware that there were any, sort of financial programs for assisted living. And I think the mass health piece of it was really a surprise to me.
Right.
I was surprised to learn. And there aren't a lot of slots, but there are a few.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, why not? And so now I want to sort of drift into what is the difference? Because we mentioned when we talked about medications, I kind of brought up the whole nursing home piece. And of course, you say nursing home and every older adult I think on the planet is like, no. So, so there is a fine line here. And the goal, obviously, when someone goes to assisted living is for them to be able to stay in assisted living to avoid, sort of nursing home placement. But they are two different animals. Let's talk a little bit about that, kind of address that.
So the biggest animal is the medication and what the nurse can do in assisted living versus a nursing home.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that we can't do in assisted living, but there are a lot of things that we can. Some of the things that we can't do are wound care or injections. Our residents have to be able to, specifically diabetics, they have to be able to inject themselves.
Ah, okay.
And there's also a fine line with that medication. We can't administer medication,
right?
But we can observe the medication.
And you can remind, you can unlock the box so that because one of the things about medication, some of it is physically being able to take it, but I don't find that to be as much of a problem, at least with a lot of the older adults that I work with. It's remembering, did I take my pill at 10 o'clock? I was supposed to. I think it's either remembering to take it or remembering, did I take it?
Exactly.
It's just kind of that. That's why I think the pill organizers are helpful. But still, if you're supposed to take it, at 9 a.m. or 4 p.m. or whatever, the pill organizer isn't going to tell you that. But if you had somebody showing up at your door, knocking on the door saying, hey, remember, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, time to take that yellow pill of yours. Oh, yes.
Right. And I think that's kind of how I share that with my prospective residents is it's just one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
We take care of it for you.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to, put it in your hand and drink the water that goes with it, but you don't have to worry about remembering to do it. I think that's the biggest piece. And I think so things like when you mentioned things like wound care, Alicia, I mean, those are things that are very medically specific.
Exactly.
And you have one nurse there, right?
One nurse, and then we have two wellness nurses. They're LPNs, and they kind of supplement the care. We also have a nurse that's on call 24 hours a day.
So let's talk a little bit about for the admission process. So let's say someone has, they're going to move into the arbors. And so, the paperwork, all that stuff gets signed. How does the staff know what this person needs? What do they need help with? Do they need somebody to do a med minder? Do they need help taking a shower once a week or something? How do you know that? How do you determine that?
So after they meet with me and after we kind of start the process and they say, yes, we think that this is a good idea, they meet with my nurse for an assessment. And Karen will start to go over, the care plan that's going to be developed. Are they right for the arbors? Is the arbors right for them? And she really gets the ball rolling on what we can help them with.
And how do you find, or do you find just in general in the time that you've been there, are families pretty involved, pretty supportive? Or, I think some people have the vision of families saying, okay, great, mom's taken care of now, the arbors has her, and, we'll visit you in a year, or we'll see you at the holidays. Yep. What do you find?
I find that 99% of my families are very supportive and very involved.
Yeah.
You get a few of those dump and runs.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're very supportive. And a lot of my families are very local. So
Mhm.
it's nice that they can come and visit.
Yeah, I have to say, and we won't see this year, but I have been to some of the family events and parties and so forth, and it is like practically standing room only. So I mean, as an outside observer, I would say, boy, you've got families that are super duper involved, and I've been to some of those events with grandkids there, and singing and dancing and fun and tons of food.
Tons.
I would have to say the Arbors, I think, is, in my opinion, really known for its food. You might want to talk a little bit about the food.
I mean,
because it is kind of second to none. To be honest with you.
It really is. I mean, I eat lunch there every day.
Yeah.
When people ask me if the food is good, I can't lie. I eat lunch there every day.
It's like,
So
it's awesome.
I think it's really good. It's not that stereotypical. It's not nursing home food.
Yeah,
it's not hospital food.
It's not institutional food at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And residents get to choose different meals every day.
Right. Yeah, talk about that. I forgot about that.
So when in a normal world, when residents are going to the dining room for 3 meals a day, they actually get a menu and they get to choose what they want. And there's 2 to 3 choices. And we try to accommodate everyone. There's always a hot meal, a cold meal, and it's just like going to a restaurant.
I know. It's like that is, and I have to tell you, the Arbors has a reputation for at least annually. Usually it was more than once a year. They would host a party for professionals, so for those of us out in the field that are working with older adults. And, I learned early on, this is not a party that you want to miss.
No, not at all.
Because first of all, just because of the food, they would have these, little hors d'oeuvres and snackies and desserts and the drink of the night, whatever the heck it was. I mean, it was like to die for. I would say to my, I'd say to my husband, it's like, you're on your own for supper tonight, because the Arbors is having an open house for professional staff, and I'll see ya.
Yeah, I'm really excited for things to hopefully go back to normal soon, so I can throw a good party.
I know. It's hard to do. So, Alicia, I understand that first of all, coming up is September. You usually have, is it National Assisted Living Week somewhere
It
in there?
is. It
So
actually
when is that? Let's talk a little bit about
It
that.
actually starts on Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday is actually Grandparents' Day. It always starts on Grandparents' Day, and it runs
that's
for
when
that
it
week.
is.
Yes.
Okay, now I know. I know it's sometime in September. I never know when.
Yeah. So I think it's the 13th is Sunday, and that's Grandparents' Day, and then it runs for that week.
So this has been, I'm sure this has been challenging, because normally, and I've typically had folks in here from the Arbors in September, partly to talk about all of the different activities that they're doing. It's like every day there was something different planned. What are you doing for National Assisted Living Week this year? I mean, it's different.
We still have a lot of different activities planned.
Good.
Socially distant activities in the parking lot for the most part.
We're doing a lot of parking lot activities.
We're also having instead of having a family party, we're having a family parade.
Oh, so how's that going to work? I think that's a great idea. How's that going to work?
So the invitations are going out soon to the families, and they'll meet in the Church of the Atonement next door.
Yep.
And
Plenty of room there.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we'll bring the residents out, and then we'll kind of drive them through our parking lot so they can beep and wave at their residents and their loved ones. So we don't get to have a party, but they still get to see each other a little bit.
Yeah,
exactly.
they do. You know what? I think the drive-by parades have been a big hit.
I agree.
They really have. And it was funny because one of my coworkers, her son turned 21, and this was like back in June, and he had said to his mom, "It's like, this is a big birthday," and she said, "Well, you realize we can't do a party." He said, "I know, but you can do a parade, if you want to." And so you better believe that we had the biggest parade that we could have for him,
It is a big birthday.
Yeah, because it was a big deal. But it was so fun. I mean, we made signs, and we decorated our cars, and we had balloons, and you learn to do things differently. You just learn to be flexible and try to create that party atmosphere. And I have to say, we have been really pretty lucky with the weather. We haven't, on the one hand, we're in a drought, but on the other hand, we haven't had a lot of rain. So all these outdoor things that we're doing is working. We're able to do those without the rain.
I keep checking the weather for next week to make sure that all of our events can keep happening.
I know.
Knock on wood, it's still going well.
And you are doing, and I want to get this in because we have about 4 minutes left here. You are doing an educational program. Is that right?
I am. So during...
talk about that, because I think, especially for our listeners, if you want more information about assisted living and more information about some of the financial programs that you mentioned, Talk to us about what you're going to be doing.
So I'm hosting a virtual event. It's actually called Is It Time for Assisted Living? It's going to be on September 17th from 4 to 5.
Which is a Thursday.
It's a Thursday night. And I'm actually pairing with the Arbors at Chicopee. We're co-hosting it together. And we're just going to go over a lot of the questions that most people have when they start to look at assisted living. You know, how can we afford it? How can we keep mom or dad out of a nursing home? What are the signs that it's time? What happens when you run out of money? You know, those typical questions that you want to plan for long term.
Yeah. And so if somebody wanted to participate in this virtual, educational program, how would they do that?
So if you want to participate, you can just call me at the Arbors, 562-0001, and I will send you the link via email. And we'll get you all set up that way.
So you just click on the Zoom link and you're in to the meeting. And again, that's Thursday, September 17th from
4 to 5.
To 5 p.m. And I think I think that's a great opportunity. And I have to tell you that it was because of having a couple of people from the Arbors on here a few years ago, talking about the program, the services, and some of the financial programs that you have that, my husband was listening at home and said to me when I got home that night, we have, a relative that we think would be appropriate. And he said, we need to call the Arbors. And that really started the ball rolling on that. You know, we contacted and we met with the person who was your predecessor, worked with her and got things set up. So, and I think, honestly, Alicia, it was something that we hadn't really considered. We just hadn't, there were some issues that were going on that we needed to kind of figure something out. And as long as I've been in the field, which is like 40 years, and I think part of it was the cost for us. We were just thinking, well, that's just like out of, and I think the other piece of it was not having as much of an appreciation of the flexibility of the services.
Right.
So thinking more in terms of, well, if you go to assisted living, you obviously we knew you get your meals and, we knew housekeeping, but also sort of thinking that the other stuff is almost mandatory, help with showering or help with this, but it's not. So if all you really need is help with, you're getting your meals prepared and having somebody come in and clean your apartment, then that's all you have to get.
Exactly.
And then down the road, if you need help with something else, either short-term or long-term, then it's available. So I think those are the messages I would like to leave people with. And I would really encourage our listeners to contact Alicia. Again, it's 562-0001. I love that number because it's so easy to remember. And that would, at the Arbors, you're going to ask for Alicia and just say that you'd like to participate in the informational session in the Zoom meeting. She'll send you the link by invitation. Just going to click that link and you're off and running.
Should be super easy.
Perfect. All right. So we have to finish a little early because, again, I'm wearing my fluorescent green brown bag food distribution attire today because we do have brown bag today. My reminder for my seniors who participate, between 9 and 10, don't come after 10 because we have to set up for lunch. So you'll be coming through the lunch line and you don't want to get stuck in the lunch line because you'll be sitting there for about a half an hour. So we're going to end with, this is, the song is from The Sound of Music. It's So Long, Farewell, and it's in honor of the birthday of Angela Cartwright, who played one of the little Von Trapp children, Brigitta, in that film. So, Alicia, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tina.
Again, the phone number there, 562-0001. If you have any other questions, and even if you don't want to do the Zoom, but you just have some questions for Alicia, she's happy to answer.
Absolutely.
All right. I will see you next week.
There's a sad sort of clanging from the clock in the hall, and the bells in the steeple too. And up in the nursery, an absurd little bird is popping out to say cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Regretfully they tell us, but firmly they compel us to say goodbye to you. So long. Wiedersehen, adieu.
Adieu, adieu, to you and you and you.
So long, farewell, au revoir, Wiedersehen.
I'd like to stay and taste my first champagne.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
I leave and heave a sigh and say goodbye, goodbye. I'm glad to